Everybody, and welcome to this week's Facebook Live. My name is Deborah Byrne from Deborah Byrne Psychology Services, known across social media as DBpsychology, and you're very welcome to this morning's Facebook Live. And this week we're going to talk about some tips to help you create more balance in your life, if that's what you want to do right now. A lot of people have been reviewing their lives and thinking about what's gone on and what they want and what they don't want in their lives. And more people are saying, no, I want more balance. I want to have more time with my family, more my friends, sorry. So if that's what you're after, then my point to you will be make a commitment to that. If you want balance, or if you want a good night's sleep, or if you want to reduce your stress, you have to make a commitment to it in the first instance. Say, yes, this is what I definitely want. I want to work on that. And if you are going to make that commitment, then I would also suggest that the emphasis is on life work rather than on work life. So when we place too much emphasis on the work, then life gets pushed out, where in fact we should be placing the emphasis more on our lives and not on work, because at the end of the day, work will be gone and it'll be the friends and family members that will surround you, and that's what you'll have at the end. So think about that. Think about, another point you really need to think about here is if you're going to review your life and what's happening in it. If you try to make too many big changes in too many areas of your life all at once, you will only set yourself up for failure. It's too much. It's too much change too quickly, and particularly if you're trying to do this on your own. If you were working with a therapist, somebody like me, I'd say that might be slightly different. You'd have the support there to do that, make some changes. But even then, I'd be saying to you, focus on one area, one change, particularly if it's a big change, rather than trying to do too much, too soon, too quickly. It just doesn't work out for you there. So you're better off picking one area of life and making very small incremental changes to get the cooperation of your brain, for one, and also like to make it easier to get into doing new habits. If we do it small, take small baby steps every single day, just a small baby step every single day, to reducing our stress, maybe to finding more time with our friends and family, to setting our work hours. Maybe that could be a one change, and just do one at a time. Make a small change one at a time, and that will give you success much quicker than trying to do too much too quickly. So, some questions to ask yourself, and I have these in the blog, so if you want to go and check that out, you'll find it at www.deborahbyrnepsychologyservices.com. So the first question to ask yourself is, what does balance mean to me? Because my sense of balance and what I want in my life is going to be completely different than yours. Even if our lives are very similar, I'll still have different, maybe still have different priorities than you have. So we have to be aware of that what our friends want, maybe, or even our family members want, they could be close to us, but maybe their sense of balance is not your sense of balance. So you have to get that right for yourself. So define your balance. What does it mean to me? What does that mean? And then define your why. Now, what I mean by that is, why do I want this change to happen? Why do I need this? Because your why will keep you going long after, when you've days when the motivation isn't happening, days when you've run out of willpower, days when you're having a really bad day. We all have them. We have ups and downs in our lives, but the why, if you have a strong enough why, that will keep you going. Now, the tips themselves, let's get into it. So the first one is lay the foundations of a balanced life. So the foundations of a balanced life, you need them in place. And I always say that you need them in place in order for you to move forward from there, to move out. So that would be maybe one of the first areas you'd look at, and that's your own self-care. I'm going to say it. I say it every week. I bang on about it, I know, but it is a foundation of your life. Good self-care, taking care of your basic self needs, then you can work out from there. It's a collapse point. We go to that collapse point. It helps us then not to have a downward spiral on our bad days. So I talk about this extensively in my book, The Building Blocks of Self-Care, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check it out. It's a book and a workbook. It's full of worksheets, so you can do it step by step, baby steps, taking it 1 month at a time, and just making very small incremental steps there. You can do that. The next thing, and I do talk about this as well in my book, is watch your self-care. Watch your self-talk. You have to watch your self-care, but you have to watch your self-talk. How do you talk to yourself? Because if you're constantly putting yourself down, if you're caught up in a negative headspace, then that's not going to be very conducive to a balanced life. So we really need to watch our self-talk, but also watch how other people talk to us as well. That would be part of skewed boundaries, and I'll come to that in a minute. But, if they're talking to you in a negative way, constantly putting it down, it's quite eroding to your self-esteem and self-confidence. You're not going to work towards a balanced life if that's happening. So I do have a number of questions you can check out in the blog around self-talk that maybe you could just start. If that's something you want to look at, and that's one area you want to look at, you could check those out. The next is number 3 is to boost your gratitude. And why I say that, gratitude and maybe doing small acts of kindness, even the simplest thing is saying thank you to somebody, will help change your own mindset, particularly if we have been caught up in a very negative mindset. We tend to only see the negative, and that part of our brain lights up more frequently than the positive side, where happiness is in the emotion lights up our brain. The happiness and contentment and more positive emotions, if you like, light up on the other side of our brain. So what we need to do is, help to change that mindset. And how you're doing that is by a simple act of gratitude, by sitting down at the end of the day and saying, what are 3 things I'm grateful for? It's very simple. It's very easy. It's a very simple change to make. It's a very simple tool to use, but it acts very quickly on the mind. It gets the pathways firing, and gets us to be more aware of what we have in our lives, and, in a positive sense rather than in the emphasis on the negative. So if you're very stressed, if you've been feeling very anxious, very fearful, you're watching an awful lot of social media and you're getting all of that, and watching the media, getting all of that negativity, it can constantly, that constant bombardment can force our brain to be more emphasis on the negative. We want to shift that. We want to shift those neural networks, move them over, and get us looking at something more positive. So gratitude can do that. Just simply writing those things down, it makes a big, big difference in our lives. And as I said, saying something as simple as thank you to somebody, or making very small gestures of gratitude or thanks or kindness for somebody else, has been shown to, in fact, boost our mental health in a positive way very quickly over a course of a few weeks. Just as much as the other person is going to be delighted that you've done, you've said thank you, or you've given them a small token of a bunch of flowers or something like that. But you are going to feel that the momentum in your brain will be felt for at least 4 months after that event, that one single event. So, it's a good tool. It's a very simple tool. Sitting down, three things you're grateful for. Very simple way to end your day. You finish your day on a positive note. 4 is actively reduce your stress levels. If you want balance, you must reduce your stress levels. Again, comes down to your basic self-care as well and in there, I always think of basic self-care as meditation. That is included in that. So meditation, going for a walk, simply going for a walk of an evening, or at lunchtime, take your breaks, making time for some fun in your life, some hobbies and interests, making some time for family and friends, disconnecting from social media, having set work hours. And I know that can be quite hard, but having that, particularly if we're working from home, an awful lot of us have let it, push into our free time. we should be more consistent with that. We should be more disciplined, I think is a word I would use there. So, no, I'm finished at 6. Whatever I get done, that's it, it's done. And I know that's very hard, but I do have further help. So if you're a mum and you've been feeling very stressed, particularly in the last few months, I think that's been very stressful for everybody. But if you'd like to come and join my mums group, that is what I talk about there all the time. I talk about stress reduction, all the simple tips that you can use. I give out tips every week, and I do workshops in there on sleep and meditation and on self-care. So if you'd like to join, I'll leave a link in the description below, and you can just pop in and join the group. So number 5 is making connections, but making connections with a positive support system. The emphasis is on positive. Now, we all, and every single person needs 4 types of connections, and I've talked about this in a video I've done before. So we need emotional, social, informational, and tangible support. And I think now more than ever, we need all that. We need that in place. But it's vital really to have a good, strong, positive support system there. It helps reduce your stress, your anxiety, and fear, of course, and that's what we need. We need that right now. But it also will help you take back control of your life. So if you think about it, if you've got somebody you can reach out for on any 4 of those social, emotional, tangible, or informational supports, and you know where to go and get that information, or you know how to go and get, okay, I need the kids minded, or I need help with something in work, I know who I can reach out to. That's very empowering. You have that connection. You're not floundering around in the dark. You know who to ask. You know who you can rely on. That is so important for people, and particularly right now. Number 6 will be to take time to reflect on all your areas of your life. We can't change something if we're not aware of it, and we can't change something, if we don't reflect on it. And that can be as simple as doing a review of your priorities. What are you doing and who are you doing it for? Why are you doing it? And we need to review those frequently. And I do have worksheets that you can use, both in the book that I've written, but also if you want to check out my library, there's an awful lot of free downloads on my library, on my free resources library there, if you want to check those out for yourself. But reviewing that frequently, and what I mean by frequently is, reflecting on how did the week go? Maybe how did the month go? It can keep us very clear on our goals and what we want happening in our life. We can keep us very balanced, because we can say, okay, I'm doing too much in one area and not enough in another, or I'm just being unrealistic with myself with the amount of work I can do in a shorter period of time. So it helps then to build our confidence and esteem as well by doing that, because when we reflect, we can see that we're winning. We can see the small wins. We can see the small achievements. We can do the treats and reward system that I've talked about before, where we can, celebrate those small wins, because that will give you momentum to carry you through and achieve the smaller goals. Will achieve the bigger one, the much bigger one, when we take the small action steps, and that gives you momentum to keep going. And that's what we want. We want the momentum going, because if we're feeling that we're not achieving anything, or we're not even reflecting, sometimes when we don't take that moment at the end of the week to go, okay, how did the week go? What did I learn here? What's the positive about the week? Then, it's more like you get on this conveyor belt where you're saying next, 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 and it's the next item, the next task, the next thing to do, the next appointment. We keep going and going. We're like little hamsters on a wheel. It's not very conducive to having a balanced life and feeling balanced within yourself. So take that time to reflect. Take that time each week and each month to reflect and get clearer on what you want. Number 7 is to raise your awareness. Now, as I said, if we're not aware, then we can't change it. So the points to remember there is, Awareness will give you better self-forgiveness and compassion, and we need an awful lot of that right now. We need to feel an awful lot of compassion for ourselves right now. We're doing the best we can, and that's okay. Right now, at this moment in time, that's okay. I am doing the best I can. That in itself is very empowering, to have that compassion for yourself and kindness towards yourself. But if awareness also, if we can do that with an open mind, we can learn to go through life with a more open mind, and with the mindset of, I am continually learning throughout my life. So that it's not that we can't learn it, we just don't know how to do it yet. And that's a good thing, I think, to teach kids. I can't do it yet, and the emphasis on the yet, because that means I have hope I can do it, and I will do it. I will succeed. So keep that open mind, raise your awareness, and move forward with the continual learning throughout your life, because balance is a continual process. It's not you get to a level of balance and that's it, I have it for life. It is a continuous thing that we work at every single day. We get up, we look for balance that day, so that overall it balances out, because we will have up and down days, of course, but overall we want to see balance there. Number 8 then is to create the healthy boundaries. As I've said, I talked about relationships and what's in them, but healthy boundaries are vital for balance. If you have skewed boundaries, if the other person has skewed boundaries, it's not going to make for a very healthy balance in your life. So, as I said, all relationships should, tongue tied, all relationships should have a level of, trust, respect, honesty, and good communications. Now, depending on how close they are in your circle of trust, and you're in the middle of that circle of trust, so, you're going to add friendship, intimacy, affection, etc. in there. But overall, you should have good, healthy boundaries that you can maintain in that relationship, and you can both maintain them, to find that balance. Number 9 is all about sleep, and I'll be having a blog on Monday, giving you a lot of sleep tips on Monday. So do check that out. But a good night's sleep means good brain function. And when we have good brain function, and what I mean by that is we don't have cognitive impairment, or we don't have that brain fog that we all hear about with brain fog. We can have brain fog and not realize we have brain fog. And that's the trick our brain plays on us. We have this, cognitive impairment, and we don't actually realize we have it. It's a type of brain fog where we're not making clear decisions. We're not making good decisions in our best interest. So a good night's sleep will help with that. It's a kind of like a knock-on domino effect. When you have a good night's sleep, it can have a very knock-on effect to your life. And equally, even losing 1 hour of sleep has been shown to increase accidents and injuries, bad mood, the brain fog, not making clear decisions. So it's really, really, really vital that we have a good night's sleep. Now, as I said, there's a blog coming out on Monday, but another thing that is available if anybody wants to do it for free, I have a sleep challenge. Again, that is in my group, Less Stress, More Success for Mums. And if you want to do it, it's a unit, self-contained unit there now, that you can actually come in, take it. It's like a course that you do over a number of week, or over a number of weeks, however long you want to take at it. And all the videos and the worksheets are all in there. So if you do want to come and try it out, come and join the group. The link is in the description below. And lastly, is number 10, is being willing to step outside your comfort zone. If you think you're going to not change over the course of your life, forget it. You will. Life experience and the very fact you're getting older changes us. It changes who we are. So you're going to change anyway. Let's do it in a constructive way and dip the toe in the water and just move out a little bit and move back. Move out and back until you move out into the new comfort zone, and continually, be willing to do that, to move forward. It's like the learning. We need to do that a little bit, tiny, tiny increments over the course of our lives. Now, if you're interested in doing that, I do have a 6-step process that lays out how to do that at the end of the blog. So if you are interested in doing that, do check that out. Now, that's it. A long video for today, I'm afraid. All the links are in the description below, and thank you very much for listening, particularly Deirdre, who listens every week. You're my most faithful fan. And I have other people that are watching live as well, and thank you very much for that. But thank you to everybody, because I know there are lots and lots and lots of people who watch this in replay, and then even watch it later on in months to come, that people keep coming back and watching all these videos. And I'm so grateful for that. So thank you very much for doing that. And I will see you all next Saturday morning, where I am going to be talking about sleep in a bit more detail and giving you some tips then. Thank you, and have a good weekend. And I'll see you then.